Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Joining us right now to discuss the amendments to the Electoral Act is Mr. Awal Musa, who is the Executive Secretary, Executive Director, beg your pardon, of the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, and Head of Transparency International. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you, and good morning.
Good morning. So we haven't seen in quite a while amendments to the Electoral Act generating such a furore. What do you think is causing all of this? Is it justified?
Well, I think it's a function of the fact that many people, they don't seem to understand their roles and responsibilities, you know. Because under our law, the function of the legislature is very, very clear in our constitution. And the role that a body like electoral, body or the executive is very, very clear on this. And the role the citizen will also play in terms of ensuring that, we have a sound, legislation is also very, very clear. So in this case, the process or the procedure after the INEC had already issued, a scheduled timetable, and National Assembly House, of Representatives in particular, coming to tinker with that, without actually, getting the views of Nigerians, I think for me is faulty. Second, the process itself, the procedure, the House of Representatives has a law or has a, guideline on how it conducts its activities.
Pardon me to interrupt your thought. What did you say was faulty?
I said the process is faulty.
Okay.
Because under the House of Representatives House rule, you must have a quorum for you to be able to pass any resolution. At the time when this particular, rescheduling of timetable was done, you had only 35 members of House of Representatives in the chamber. That does not constitute and cannot constitute a forum, that is required, for the kind of adoption or the kind of amendment that is required. You have 360 members, and you only had 35 members present. So therefore, based on the law, or rather based on the rules of the House, that has in itself nullified that action.
That is extremely troubling. So you're saying that of the 360 members we have in the House of Reps, only 35 were present on the day that the amendment was being passed, as it were.
Absolutely.
So that's not the work being done at the committee level.
No. It's not just about the issue of a committee. It was a house. It was the whole house.
Yes.
And for you to be able to fast cut on that kind of resolution, you must have the required quorum. That was not done. Second, for you to make this kind of fundamental changes, you need to also hear from the people that you represent. Nigerians were not, consulted, so there was no public consultation when this kind of thing was done. Thirdly, we need to make sure that, every arm of government plays its own responsibility based on our law. The scheduling or timetable of election lies within the ambit of INEC. And for you to come and make that into electoral law, I think is something that is not done, and it has no any historical purposes, and it is just not legislative work. This is something that the policy arm of executive is supposed to be responsible for, which is, in this case, INEC. And even if you want to do this, there should be a kind of consultation or consensus between even the INEC and the general public, as well as the National Assembly, if you want to do that. But for you to just do this and even reschedule this without having the required quorum, I think is completely faulty. And I think, it is important that we understand the role of each arm of government so that we do not have, conflict in the kind of democracy we practice.
So for you, it just boils down essentially to legislative impunity?
Absolutely. There was something that was done either out of ignorance or deliberately some people just want to think that they want to do things. But I think, a lot of challenges we are having is that you have a lot of members who they are not actually bothered to educate themselves on legislative process and legislative rudiment of lawmaking. And therefore, you have so many members who did not bother to actually learn from the first and also learn on how to do their work better.
When we heard from Honorable Pajok when he spoke about the amendment, and he was pretty categorical that if the president decides that he's going to try and not assent to this amendment, that indeed the National Assembly will push it through either way. You've been working with the federal legislature for a long time now.
Sure.
Who checks the federal legislature? It seems like the Constitution enables everybody to be checked except for that institution if they're united. What are your thoughts on that?
You see, under true democracy, the electorate, they checkmate, the excesses of their representative. That's why you have constituency accountability, which we call constituency outreach. The constituency accountability or constituency outreach is, a platform to enable the electorate to be able to ask questions, provide information, make input into the legislative process itself, But unfortunately, that is one aspect that is lacking in the entire legislative work that, we are practicing in Nigeria. So the legislative accountability is actually absent in many instances because many people, they think that constituency outreach is just to go to do naming ceremony, or going to do wedding, or going to just attend some social function. No, it's a serious matter. And this is why issues like this comes, so that you can actually have conversation with the electorate, with the constituency you are representing, to say, okay, we are going to go into this. What is going to be your view? What's your suggestion? Then it is the responsibility of the electorate there to make informed, contribution so that the member, when he or she goes to the parliament, the assembly, will be able to say, okay, I'm speaking on behalf of my people. That is what is called representation. Representation.
I'm wondering, the chances are very high that when you speak with the members of the House, they most likely will tell you that they spoke with their constituents, and this is what they want. I mean, it's very debatable. But then the question is, who is this amendment harming? Is it hurting anyone?
Well,
Does it have the potential
The point that it is harming a system that you have also agreed, because that is the reason why you have law. You cannot have a law for the sake of decoration, just for the sake of saying it. You have a law saying that you must have a quorum for such kind of adoption or of resolution to happen. And then you ignore it. You only had 35 people, out of 360 present there. Such kind of important thing that affects all of us requires the attention or the participation and the input of members required to pass that kind of resolution.
But then one would wonder that, if they do not have the numbers in the House of Reps, we have not heard any member protesting that this law was passed in our absence, even though then some people will say, why were you not there? They're sitting. But then we've also seen the Senate concurring with the House of Reps that they agree with them totally on almost all the amendments that they have passed.
Yeah,
especially that one that reorders the elections.
If there's if somebody does something wrong, does not mean that you should just justify the thing that is wrong. I think we are talking about, improving our legislative, or rather democratic consolidation in Nigeria. We must do it right. The National Assembly has every responsibility to carry out their responsibility as enshrined in the Constitution. The executive, under our law, they also have their own function. And therefore, for you to interfere or to undermine one another, it's not healthy for democracy. And that's why we personally, in my organization, we have been promoting legislative development, legislative assertiveness, so that the legislature, which I believe is very, very important for democracy, should play its important role, but not to actually ignore its own, important role to go and be doing other things.